cuties, welcome back to the channel. I really hope you're doing nice and I'm sending a lot of hugs and positivity to all of you. Hi, if you're new, welcome to the channel. I really hope you enjoy the content, and if you do, please do consider subscribing. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about 15 books/series which I have read in the past few months, which are utterly hyped. You see it everywhere and you wonder to yourself whether they are worth the hype or not, whether you should be spending your time and your money on them or not, and I am going to tell you whether you should or not. And so here I am to your rescue. I'm going to tell you whether you should be spending your time and money on them or not. I will also be telling you which of them is great for you if you are a beginner, and which of them will help you to rejoice in the joy of reading even further. And without any further ado, let's begin the video. The first book is my recent favorite, and that is where I have already answered the question whether it is worth the hype or not. It is worth the hype, and the book is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I have made a reading vlog on this, so you can go and check it out and see how I bawled my eyes out for this video and how puffy my eyes are in that video because of how much I have cried while reading this book. This is the story of Achilles and Patroclus. Achilles is the greatest of the greatest warriors when it comes to Greek mythology, and Patroclus has been popular to be his friend, but through this book we come to know that he was so much more than a friend to Achilles, and we get to get a glimpse into their love story. The highlight of this book is the writing style. It is so beautiful. I could not believe my eyes when I was reading this book, and I genuinely felt like I was diving into the ocean or diving into a pool of water, like where once you get underwater you can't hear or you can't see anything else around you. That's the kind of vacuum I felt in my head when I was reading this book. I'm a little late to the game. This book has been hyped since ages at this point. This is the 10th anniversary edition. Even then it has swayed me off, so yes, it is definitely worth the hype. I don't think that it is meant for beginners because there are elements of symbolism and certain things that you need to know about the Trojan War if you want to feel a sense of familiarity when you're reading the book. But if you do want to dive into Greek mythology as a reader, which means you're already a reader but you want to get into Greek mythology, then you will really enjoy this book, and you can definitely start with this. There was no way that I was not reading literally the next book and almost like the only other book written by Madeline Miller, and that is Circe. This is the story of Circe, who is a witch, and she has been banished from her own house, and she has been brought up with a lot of cruelty and a lot of jokes, and everybody just makes fun of her, and she has very low self-esteem. Because of that, she does certain things which leads to the banishment of her, and she is off to an island all alone for her exile, and we get to see what she does over there. This basically is like a journal, the adventures of Circe and her feelings, because she has poured in every feeling that she has, and it is so vulnerable. It makes the book utterly beautiful. The center of the show for this book was not the writing, though the writing is still beautiful. It was Circe herself. Circe as a character, how her first emotion towards anything is fear, but still she, like a badass, she keeps that fear aside and steps into the world of unknown. It's just beautiful. So is it worth the hype? Yes. And is it meant for beginners? Again, for Greek mythology beginners, yes. If you're a total beginner and you've never read any book before, then no. Next we have Kafka on the Shore by Murakami. This is one of the best works of Murakami, and most of the people get into the world of Murakami through this book or through Norwegian Wood. If you truly want to experience what Murakami is all about, how he is able to create a world which is all dreamy, and it's like a mosaic, what do you call it, where there are like different tiles and you put them together, different patches and you put them together, and it turns out to be like this beautiful picture. That is what Murakami is about, and that is what this book is about. This book is about two people. One of them has run away from their house after a dark prophecy by his father, and the second one is just roaming around the world talking to cats. Then because of certain circumstances you come to know that their lives are actually intertwined together and they cross each other's path. What happens, what is the prophecy, what happens after they cross each other's path, all of that you come to know when you're reading the book. But if you ask me, this book is more about the writing style, the dream-like adventure, more than the story itself, because there are a lot of opinions about what the story actually means. I do have a video on Murakami for beginners. You can go and check that out to understand more as to when you can start with this book. Is it worth the hype? It's actually underhyped. hyped, honestly. I mean, so many other books are so popular, they should be even more popular. And is it meant for beginners? For Murakami beginners, sort of yes, if you're ready for the craziness. But as a complete beginner in the reading world, I wouldn't recommend it, but this may actually surprise you, so go ahead with it if you can. Next is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. This one is a story of two guys, Matteo and Rufus, who have both gotten a call at midnight that today is the day that they are going to die. Now, they don't know each other at all, and obviously this is not in the real world. In this world, you get a call if you're going to die that day. And so they both want to get out of their comfort zone, and when they are getting out of their comfort zone, they come across each other, and we get to see what they do together in the 24 hours before their death. You already know from the cover itself that they are going to die in the end, and yet for some reason when I was reading the book, I forgot that they die in the end. And when they did die, it broke my heart and I was shocked. Like, why was I shocked when I knew that they're gonna die? Very easy to read. Is it worth the hype? Now, I have not seen the hype that much. So the hype that I have seen, yes, it is worth it. But if it is more hype than what I have seen, then no. And is it meant for beginners? Definitely. Next is Normal People by Sally Rooney. This book is a literary fiction of two people who are very, very different from each other, and they have grown up in different social backgrounds, but they are in the same school. And for the longest time, they have never talked to each other, but then one day they do. And you get to see what happens after that. Each chapter is almost like months away or at least weeks away, and you get to see their journey throughout time, their journey together and their journey separately. I went into this book thinking it's like a beautiful love story that will just sway me off my feet and stuff, but it actually turned out to be a really, really sad book. So if you like sad love stories or sad people, if you like themes of mental health, and if you like miscommunication, which was like the major part of the book, then you will love this book. I loved the characters a lot for myself. Parts of them were actually utterly relatable, and so I loved the book. And I do have a vlog on this also, you can go and check it out. I actually cried at the end of this book. But now looking back at it after finishing it for so long, is it worth the hype? I think I'm gonna give the same response, which is 50-50, because it's just way too hype. You do not have to be that hype, but it is really, really good. You should definitely read it, but you don't have to die to read it. You can take your time to get to it. And is it meant for beginners? Yes, if you're entering the world of literary fiction, but no, if this is like going to be your first book, it's going to be really difficult. It doesn't even have quotation marks for the conversation, so it's going to be difficult. And if you don't like miscommunication, skip on this book. Miscommunication was actually the one thing that was turning me off when I was reading that book. Next we have Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. Is this one worth the hype? Yes and more. I just couldn't wait to tell you that it is worth the hype. This is the story of Liz and Wes. Liz is dealing with the death of her mother, and so she's sticking to rom-com movies, and she's living a life that she thinks that her mother would approve of or that her mother would want for her. And Wes is this like really annoying guy that she has in her life, and they have been fighting with each other since they were children. And while she's going through all of these things, Michael actually comes to her school. They were really good friends when they were kids, and he used to be her childhood crush, and now he is back when Liz is ready to get into a serious relationship. Therefore, this seems like a sign to her, and she has decided that she is going to get back with Michael. Not back, I mean, she's gonna get with Michael. You get to see the journey of Liz, what love means to her, and how that meaning of love changes over time. If you like rom-com movies, especially YA rom-com, if you like that, you cannot miss out on this book. Each chapter starts with a quote from a rom-com movie, and for a person like me who loves rom-com, all I do is watch rom-com. No, I watch a lot of other movies, but yeah, rom-com is like my comfort zone. This was a treat. The cheesiness quotient is high, but if the main character likes rom-com movies, what else do you expect from a book? Is it meant for beginners? Yes, definitely yes. Please read this book. Next is Cleopatra and Frankenstein by Coco Mellors. This, oh my god, this is the story of Cleopatra and Frankenstein, obviously, who have like a meet cute in the first chapter, and they fall for each other, and there is an instant connection that is so deep because their conversation is just so beautiful when you're reading it. And in the next chapter, they're married, and you're like, whoa, that is so cool. But in the chapters to come, you get to see the story and the characters of Cleopatra and Frankenstein from the perspective of their friends and family, how their marriage has affected them. There is a detailed review, I'll put the link in the description, for this book where I have have dived so deep into it because it is one of the best books that I've ever read in my entire life. It's like I got reminded of why I love reading when I was reading this book. It does deal with really sensitive issues, so make sure you're reading the trigger warning. Make sure you're reading the trigger warning for all the books actually. Always read the trigger warning before starting a book. It deals with mental health, it deals with grey characters and what they do, and it's literally one of the best books in the entire world because of how beautiful it is. Like, oh my god. And the ending is what caught me. Like, the ending was the most perfect ending ever. So is it worth the hype? Yes, definitely yes for me. And is it meant for beginners? Sort of. It cannot be your first book, and if you don't like grey characters and like really traumatizing things, then no. But if you are like an intense person, you know, who watches intense movies and stuff, this can definitely be your first book, and it may actually make you fall in love with reading. Next up, we have a book that I don't like, and yeah, so the book is The Spanish Love Deception by Ilana Armas. I am going to read The American Roommate by her because that also is so hype, and I'm really hoping that book is really good. But I do not like this book. This is the story of Aaron and Catalina. I've already forgotten the names. Catalina has to go to a wedding of her sister in Spain, but she does not have a boyfriend, but she told her family that she does have a boyfriend, so now she needs a fake boyfriend. And somehow out of nowhere her nemesis Aaron comes, and he's like, yeah, you know what, I'll help you. First of all, how does that happen? Like, how do you go from hating each other to just like helping each other? I mean, I have read books like this where you hate, like, obviously that's what enemies to lovers is about, but I just did not see it happening properly in this book. And then they faked it, and then you see what happens and blah blah blah. Now I really like such books, but I am so casual about it when it comes to this book because I don't like this book. For 300 pages, like 250 pages, nothing happened. Like, nothing happened. And after that, a little bit happened. And then Spanish wedding, which was like the main thing, you don't even get to see that. So like, what is going on? I do have a vlog on this, so you can go and check it out for like my full rant or something. I don't know, but I don't want to rant a lot in this video. Is it worth the hype? No. But is it great for beginners? Yes. Maybe there are things in the book that you may like, and so you watch the vlog and you decide for yourself whether you want to read it or not. Next is 8 Rules of Love by Jay Shetty. Isn't this the most hyped book like recently, especially when it comes to non-fiction? Is this the only non-fiction in the pile? Yes. This is an ultimate guide to love on every level. Love within yourself, love outside of yourself, love with the world, relationship, breakup, when to keep love, when to let go of it, everything about love. This book was actually able to structurize the abstract concept of love. I read any book there is in the world when it comes to love, and so I did read the book, and obviously because it's hyped and I wanted to tell you whether you should read the book or not. And I have not liked the first book that Jay Shetty wrote, and I've talked about that also, I think, in the hyped books video or something. And so I was actually kind of like, I did not have high expectations from the book. I was kind of actually ready to dislike it, which is really bad, I'm sorry. But this book was such a delightful surprise because I ended up loving the book so much. It stole my heart. I think it is a must read for everybody, like of any age group. Jay Shetty has collected so many thoughts and cultures and advices from therapists and so many things and put it in one place for you to read it and get it from like one book. So it's definitely that one book you should be buying on love to understand how it can empower you to live your life. Even after that though, is it worth the hype? No, because it's just too hype. Like, what is all this hype about? It is an amazing book. Love it, but it's not worth the hype. And is it meant for beginners? Yes. Next up, we have the Twisted series. Is there anything hyped more than the Twisted series? I do have a separate video on Twisted series also, you can go and check it out. I basically hated the first book. I think when I was reviewing the book, I was being kinder to it, but if I'm going to be brutally honest, I did not like it at all. I don't remember what was good about that book. I love dominant men and grey characters and stuff like that, but Alex just sucked. And Ava, I mean, it's supposed to be sunshine and grumpy, and I get it, I've read sunshine grumpy books, okay, but what is that? What is Ava doing? And what was all of that family drama? Like, it's a big no. And I just went forward with the next part in the series because of you guys, because I wanted to make the video for you guys, okay, so I can save your time. But then the second book turned out to be one of my most favorite books ever. That is the story of a bodyguard and a to-be queen, and I think the whole to-be queen may have played like sort of a role in me liking it because I love queen, princess, blah blah, all of that stuff. But Reese, I called him Rice in the video, but it's not Rice, it's Reese. And now Reese is the kind of guy I can get on board with. And then I read the third book. First book, by the way, is Twisted Love. The second book is Twisted Games. The third book is Twisted Hate. And third book was okay for me. It's enemies to lovers, and now that is how you're supposed to develop hate between two people. They genuinely hated each other for good reasons, and that was amazing. It was actually really like there was a lot of steam in that whole transition of their haters to lovers, and that was really good. But I did not enjoy it as much to actually go to the fourth book, so I never read the fourth book. So in all, is the entire series worth the hype? No, not really. I loved the second book a lot, and you can read them as standalones. Is it meant for beginners? Yes, definitely. It's super spicy though, by the way, so remember that. And next up we have one of the best series that I have read, and that is The Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Yes, it is definitely worth the hype. Good Girl's Guide to Murder Good Girl's Guide to Murder is the story of Pippa. In the first book, Good Girl's Guide to Murder, Pippa has picked up on a project to find what happened with Andy Bell. Now we already know who her murderer is, but Pippa does not agree with it, and which is why she investigates herself. And when she's investigating, she comes up with truths about her town which she did not expect. So then we move to Good Girl Bad Blood, where one of her friend's brother is lost, and now Pippa does not want to get into investigation anymore after what happened in the first book, but this is her friend's brother, so she has to, and she gets into it, and things get worse and things get really dark in this book. Actually, the ending of the book, it's tragic and it's really sad. Then we move on to the third book, where Pippa herself is being stalked. Now if Pippa herself is being stalked, then it's crazy. What can be more thrilling than that? The investigator being stalked. But this one is the darkest book in all three of them. I feel like Good Girl's Guide to Murder was actually my comfort book, but then as we moved ahead, all of the comfort was gone, and there are a lot of adult themes, and it's very dark and creepy, but I enjoyed it thoroughly because I'm all about comfort and creepiness. Is this good for beginners? Yes, definitely go ahead and read it. Next we have You've Reached Sam by Dustin Tao. This is a story of Julie, who has recently lost her boyfriend. Everything was planned, and now this was sudden, and she's not able to get on board with it, and so she just wants to hear Sam's voice for the last time. So she picks up the phone and she calls him, but the crazy thing is that he actually picks up the phone, which is not supposed to happen because he is dead. So you get to see what happens after that. Now the blurb is just so enticing that I actually got this book when I was not supposed to get it, and I did not have the budget for it, okay? But it was a disappointing read. It's not as beautiful and as crazy as you think it would be. It's more about how you deal with grief and loss, and that too very little. I think the problem with the book is that it's too short. If this book had parts, or if the book was thicker, I think it would have been much better. I did like the characters individually, and my heart would be like wrecked whenever Sam would talk, but the relationship between the characters also was not built properly. The arc was not good. I mean, there are so many things that I don't like about the book. So is it worth the hype? No. Is it good for beginners? Yes. I do have in the same Cleopatra and Frankenstien video, I have talked about this book also. Oh, and in that video only we also have Beach Read by Emily Henry. This is the story of two writers who are completely opposite from each other. January is all about love stories and happily ever afters. Gus is all about literary fiction and the reality of the world, but then they have to cross each other's paths when they are when they are on a vacation and they are each other's neighbors. Now both of them have to write a book as soon as possible. That is the thing that is common between them, and that is what brings them together. They challenge each other, they make each other think, and it is beautiful to see that. And I love Emily Henry's writing, so it is definitely an amazing read. The only reason I will say it is not worth the hype is because for me, Book Lovers is worth the hype, and I love Book Lovers so much. I should not be comparing both the books, but I do, and I like Book Lovers more than this, so this one is not worth the hype that much. Also, I did not enjoy the miscommunication. I don't like it. You're adults, behave like adults. Is it good for beginners? Yes. Next up in the same line, we have The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. Now this book also has fake dating, okay, and it is also very crazy and very dramatic. Olive actually kisses one of the professors of the college to convince her best friend that the best friend can go out with her ex because Olive is over her ex. You see how complicated that is, but it is done well. This is so cute. I love Adam. Adam is, yes, he is the love of my life. I need like a real Adam to actually fall in love. He has stolen my heart and I love Adam so much. Also, the whole fake dating thing makes a lot of sense. Even though it's done for stupid reasons, the professor agreeing to do the fake dating, it's not like it's just out of nowhere. And that is what I enjoy about the book. This book, it was a delight and it was really cute. Still, is it worth the hype? No, not one of those books that you have to go crazy about, even though it is an amazing book and you have to read it, especially if you like rom-com. And is it good for beginners? Yes, definitely. Last but not the least, we have the Shiva trilogy, which again I am very late to tell you whether it is worth the hype or not, but I am here to tell you that yes, it is worth the hype. This is the story of Shiva himself and it is based on Lord Shiva. Shiva and his people are going through some things and so he seeks protection from Meluha, but when he goes to Meluha, he drinks the somras and his throat becomes blue and everybody comes to know that he is the Nilkant and now he has to banish the evil and make the good win, and all of it was not in the list for him, but he does do it. So you see his journey through it. As I said, it is based on the story of Lord Shiva in the real world, but nobody is a god in this book. They are all positions. Everything has scientific reasons as to why it is the way it is. The second book is my favorite because it was the most thrilling one, but I love the entire series so much. Again, I have a vlog on it, you can go and check it out. Is it worth the hype? Definitely yes. I mean, as a person who loves mythology, especially Indian mythology, I barely know anything about any other mythology, but Indian mythology I know everything because I consume anything there is in the world when it comes to Indian mythology. So as a lover of that, as a lover of Lord Shiva, as a lover of watching Ramayana and Mahabharata and everything since childhood, I enjoyed it so much. All of the scientific explanations were really cool and very in place. It did not feel out of place at all. Is it good for beginners? If you watch the beginner friendly video, you know you must actually read it to start reading. It's that good. And with that, we come towards the end of the video because the sunlight has left me. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. You got a recommendation. You came to know which book you should be spending your time and money on. And that is it. I'll see you guys very soon again in the next video. I think the next video is the teenager video and I'm so excited about it. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.